On today's video, we're going to be looking at the top 10 worst apartments in Fort Myers. Now, overall, the Fort Myers metropolitan area is a great place to live. Recently, it has one of the highest life expectancies of any metropolitan area in the United States. And that's a very important analytic because it's a combination of real-life death analytics put into one single understandable metric. However, living in the trenches of Fort Myers is an absolutely different story, and the worst apartment complexes in this city are controlled by gangs, rat and roach infested, bed bug infested. When it comes to horrible living conditions, the city of Fort Myers has some world-class slummery. So on today's video, we're going to dive deep into the top 10 worst apartment complexes in the city, and some of these places are beyond belief. Now keep in mind that everything we're doing on today's video is based on my personal opinion, and opinions can never be wrong, nor can they be defamation. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and this is my opinion of the top 10 worst apartment complexes that you can live in the city of Fort Myers. Let's get into this. Number 10 is all the apartments off of Boy Scout Drive. This area has apartment complexes like the famous Mystic Gardens, rated 3.0 on Google Maps. People here note that the rents are ridiculous. The gates are always broken, and people will literally drive cars through the walls just to break into apartments or right through the gates. Garbage is piled up, but the worst part is rat, roach, and bedbug infestation, making these some of the nastiest apartments you're ever gonna see. Other people say that your mail is constantly getting robbed out here. The Lennox is horribly rated at 3.6. People are saying there's rats, there's roaches, there's mold, and that they're literally scamming people out of their money in this part of Fort Myers. On top of that, you're not too far away from Pine Manor, known as Crime Manor. They had a murder there as recently as last month. If the bedbugs and roach infestations don't terrify you, the crime should, as the proximity to Pine Manor means that many people that can't afford to live in Pine Manor end up in these apartment complexes out here. Number 9 is Sable Palms. It's said that the rapper Plies used to live here. This is a rough part of Fort Myers off of MLK. There's no Google Maps listing for this place, so there's no idea the horrors people are living in this part of Fort Myers. The apartments are kind of run down, known for delinquency and crime, and of course, the rapper Plies being from this part of Fort Myers. This area is synonymous with crime, and living in these apartments, putting your family here, means your kids have a good probability of wanting to grow up to be a gangster more than a productive member of society. Sable Palms and the adjacent areas, all these apartments back through here are the trenches. Moving out here would be a mistake. Number 8 is the Thomas Street Apartments. Don't let the low rent prices fool you. This place has always been known for thugging. People that are from Fort Myers will tell you to avoid this place like the plague. In the heart of some of the roughest neighborhoods in Fort Myers, making these apartments your residence is going to put you in the heart of thugging in Fort Myers. Rough inner city neighborhoods where the only thing people know how to do is trap and slang. And again, Fort Myers overall ain't a bad area, but if you put yourself in the wrong neighborhood, living in these neighborhoods, you gotta be with the program of the streets. You can't talk, you can't snitch, you move wrong, they kick your door down, rob your crap. Life in this part of Fort Myers is for people well versed in the streets. And if you don't know the program and you move out here, please believe these people will make your life a living nightmare. Every day in these apartments is going to feel like you're on the First 48 or a Cops TV show, because it's always action out here. Number 7 is any apartment off of Winkler, Metro, and Colonial. This triangle right here is infected with gangs trapping. There's a lot of Brazilians and Puerto Ricans here. It's a pretty diverse area, but that also means there's a lot of gangs and hood rattery. Every empty lot here is practically a homeless camp. The combination of gangs and homeless people make this one of the most undesirable places you could live. Don't be fooled by the fact that some of these apartments are brand new. You don't want to end up out here. Many people heard that this was a fast growing area and they saw that these apartments were new and they moved out here not knowing the type of neighborhood they were moving into. But there are clues like the fact some apartments out here are rated as low as 2.9 and they have cameras fixed on the garbage cans. People move out here and they don't understand what that's about. Homeless people dumpster diving for food, scrap metal pickers dumpster diving for metal, and of course people that work construction dumping garbage. Even a garbage can needs to have a camera in this part of Fort Myers. Apartments in this area are cited for having horrible maintenance, horrible management, and of course roaches and bed bugs, the plague of Fort Myers that you're going to find in all these low-income apartments. I guess the craziest thing about Fort Myers is that people move here believing all the garbage they heard on TV about Florida, not realizing that they're actually moving to one of the most horrific places in the state where there's no jobs, people are scamming, defrauding, and the apartments they're moving into are nothing more than places people are trapping and slanging out of. Number 6 is the Jones Walker Palm Gardens apartments. Now these apartments had a problem where people were trapping like crazy out of them, so they put up a fence. Unfortunately, all that did was turn these apartments into somewhat of a trapping compound, and the security measures that were supposed to make the community safer actually turn it into the perfect freaking compound for people to trap out of. And instead of making it better, the fences and new security measures kind of turn it into the perfect place for people to slang. These apartments are known for nothing more than slanging, and putting up the fences actually made it an even more dangerous neighborhood than before. Of course, Fort Myers has a lot of problems, and these apartments are literally run by gangs. Even in the comments section of the reviews, you can hear people talking about the fact these apartments are straight up gangster. In the reviews about these apartments, people casually talk about how crime-infected and gang-controlled these apartments are as if it was a normal thing. I mean, it's not even looked at as a negative thing. It's just like letting people know, like, oh yeah, man, like, you know, the dealers had my back out here type of stuff. It's crazy how much proliferation of crime there is in these apartments, and it doesn't seem to get better. And the crazy thing, it's not like people are complaining about it. It's almost like a selling point to people that if you move here, you'll have access to all these criminal activities. Number 5 is the Cypress Courts apartment off of Palm Beach. The condition of these apartments is so bad that it's actually been on the local news. People are constantly getting arrested. The apartments are run down. People complain about rats, mold, roaches. The conditions here are unbearable. And of course, you have a lot of crime and violence as typical for Fort Myers. But without a doubt, the most notable thing about these apartments is how run down the condition is and how the city of Fort Myers even allows these apartments to exist in this run down and decrepit state. Even before the hurricane damage, these apartments were already in horrific condition. I recently drove past these apartments and it was shocking to see the condition they're in and how people have to live like this in the city of Fort Myers. Living here has to be an absolute nightmare. Number 4 is the Harbor Palms apartments located in the Tice area of Fort Myers. The condition of these apartments are absolutely unbelievable. For one, most of the residents are undocumented Guatemalans. The entire perimeter of these apartments is marked by different gangs that are apparently feuding over who controls the area. Garbage is thrown around everywhere, and walking into these apartments literally means having gang members come up to you and check you, asking you what hood you're from and why you're in their community. It's an absolutely disgraceful situation that something this bad can exist in Fort Myers, and the living conditions inside of these apartments are just horrific. Number 3 is the Retreat. The irony that this place is called the Retreat is that there is actually a retreat here that turns this apartment complex into, again, a perfect place to slang or trap from. See, this apartment complex is located as a fortress with a canal around its perimeter and 2 large roads. On the north side, it's flanked by the Garden Street scrap metal yard, which gives people cash money for scrap metal. Many of the people that sell the scrap metal are junkies. And there's a trail that goes from the scrapyard to behind these apartment complexes. They get the cash for the scrap metal and then they head right to the retreat. But if there's police officers in the area, they're passing on the major roads, and by the time the cops pull up, the criminals are gone. It's a perfect place to slang out of. You can see on the north side that there's a trail leading from Veronica Shoemaker to the apartments. On the left of us is Garden Street scrap metal. So what happens here is if a police officer is coming on Veronica Shoemaker, he may see the hand-in-hand transaction between the people that live in the apartments and the people coming out of the scrapyard. But as you can see, there's a canal that ends right where these apartments are, which means with that raised sidewalk, law enforcement is never able to apprehend the people that are slanging. It's a perfect place for somebody to post up, slang openly, but if law enforcement passes by or tries to make a detention, they have literally no way of catching the people who can run back into the apartments and escape the law. Basically, this has created a situation where this has been an open air market that the cops just can't shut down because of the strategic location of that canal and the way the layout of this area is. On top of that, being right across the street from the scrapyard where people are getting cash money for junk means that any junkie in the neighborhood or homeless person can steal some scrap metal, sell it to scrapyard, get some cash, and run straight to these apartments. On top of that, being between Veronica Shoemaker and Winkler, it's literally in the heart of the metropolitan area, which means it's a perfect place to trap out of regardless. You can see here the line that I've made in red showing you exactly how this situation works and why these apartments are strategic for somebody to slang out of. I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen the cops try to catch up with these guys slinging out of this little spot, and every single time the guys get away, the cops are never able to stop them. The geography of this place literally makes it perfect and ideal for this situation, and law enforcement's never been able to get a step ahead of the game here. On the corner of a major intersection with a canal around the perimeter and gated, these apartments are literally a compound. The wooded areas surrounding it are full of homeless camps, and inside of these apartments, garbage overflows, repairs take forever. The living conditions in here are horrific. You might drive by and just see some apartments behind a canal, but you have no idea the type of crime and things that happen back here in these apartments, where people are always complaining about activities with police and of course the horrendous conditions and disrepair of this community. They're rated 3.3 on Google Maps, and 9 people have reported about police activity in these apartments. And well, it comes with the territory considering that it's literally a fortress of a canal around it as a moat, a scrapyard across the street. Horrific situation here. Number 2 is the Meridian. Practically the same scenario. It's practically a fortress with a fence, a canal, and a container wall around it on a corner of an intersection. This place is again practically another fortress. Just literally yesterday, Fort Myers' latest shooting happened on Maple Street, which is a block away. It's just known for being a horrible place. On top of that, the people that live here cite mold, horrible management, issues with vandalism, and security cameras. But all you have to do is drive through this neighborhood to figure out that this place is jumping all the time. Anytime you drive through this neighborhood, you're just looking around wondering what you're going to see next, because there's usually something interesting happening. And even the houses that are within the vicinity of these apartments are known as local crack houses. The cops try to keep an eye on this intersection and area, but there's nothing they can do. Again, the layout of this place makes it a fortress where junkies can come in and out trapping, but when the law tries to come in, it takes too long for them to make the approach, giving people that are committing crimes inside of these apartments an opportunity to clean up, make the stuff disappear. It's again a perfect layout to trap out of. This has turned the adjacent area into another crime crap hole, and no matter what law does, it can never keep up with the fact that the geography of these apartments makes them somewhat like a fortress, enabling people to come in and out, but law enforcement never to be able to make apprehensions of the people that are running these spots. And it's been that way for years. Even if the law enforcement does manage to shut these places down, again, these places are practically fortresses the way they're laid out, and they lend themselves perfectly for criminal activity. Heading south of here, a street called Solomon, all the other apartments are doing about the same thing. It's just a horrible area of Fort Myers to live in general. Number 1 is an apartment complex that's actually fairly new and decent looking. but it's right across from the Lee County Jail, and that's probably where half of the problems start with this apartment complex. Despite looking kind of nice and neat, surrounded by wooded areas, it's got a few problems. For some people, it's the massive amount of alligators that there are in this community that they're terrified of. But what they really need to be afraid of is the criminal activity. Despite being new apartments, they're rated 2.9. Most people just complaining about management and the horrible lease programs they run, the condition of the staircases, money issues, and for some people, it's problems related to the jail across the street. Residents post up photo of all the garbage that's left throughout the community, littering the entire area. Despite being brand new apartments, the people here kind of live like if they were living in the hood and the streets of Fort Myers. And some people move here not realizing that despite the fact these are brand new apartments, they're still kind of like everybody there's living the hood life. This guy's comment pretty much sums it up. There's illegal alligator fights, the worst fire ant infestation you will ever see, swarms that ate my neighbor's cat, crazy convicts escaping the jail every night to run to the gator matches. That's kind of a satire comedy thing, but at the end of the day, you get the idea. This place is completely out of control. This area's problems stem from the fact that there's literally an apartment complex, a jail, and then that's it for like a whole entire mile. So literally when people get out of jail, the only thing they can do is go to these apartment complexes, and the wooded areas surrounding these apartments are filled with homeless camps as well. Living here really is a nightmare. This lady says she's calling the cops all the time because people are partying loudly, there's garbage piled up everywhere, and their cars are getting towed non-stop. In fact, some of the issues that people are reporting in this community are almost hard to believe. Despite being new apartments, it seems to be overrun with crime. And well, the crazy thing about it is you're paying new apartment prices, but you're dealing with inner city problems. Some people complain about the horrific condition like filth and garbage and all types of nasty stuff throughout the entire community. People move here thinking that they're going to get a new apartment complex with gates and security and just this wonderful Fort Myers dream that they were sold. But then they realize that it's actually kind of like across from a jail and that like the entire neighborhood is a dump, and well, it just lends itself perfectly to crime once again. Being across from the jail has its own unique challenges. Being surrounded by wooded areas and a city full of homeless camps has unique challenges. And what's crazy about this apartment complex is that it would deceive people. Like all these other places, you can kind of look at them and figure out that they're the pits basically. But when it comes to these apartments, it fools a lot of people. And the reason they're number one on our list is because despite the fact that these apartments are horrendous, people actually end up moving here thinking that it's a luxury apartment, not realizing that they're moving to one of the most horrendous places you can live in all of Fort Myers. And there you have it. These are the top 10 worst places you can live in Fort Myers if you're looking for apartments. And I'm sure in the comment section, you guys are going to share other places that are horrible as well. I think the common thing that these places have is that they're kind of built like fortresses and they lend themselves perfect to criminality. Perhaps in trying to make these neighborhoods secure and safe with canals and gates, they've actually created places for people who are criminals to feel safe while engaging in criminal activities. Fort Myers is overall a great city to live in, good analytics, but it's economically deprived, and that leads many people in the inner city of Fort Myers to have no other option but to join criminal activities, and that turns places that should in theory be kind of new apartments into undesirable crap holes, since after all it costs so much money to live in Fort Myers that the difference between a bad apartment complex, a good apartment complex ain't that much, because the bottom is crunched so much, driving up prices for affordability, making the comparable prices of expensive and kind of affordable not that different. And when that happens, it turns places that in theory should be nice into complete crap holes. But regardless of the reasons, if you are moving to Fort Myers, these areas and apartment complexes that we have talked about today are definitely to be avoided. These places will turn your tropical dreams into an absolute swamp nightmare. These are the pits of Fort Myers, the worst of the worst, and if you end up in these places, your life really can be a nightmare, and well, this is just my personal opinion. If you enjoyed today's video, remember to support our channel. There's a PayPal link on the main page, and it should be on the video as well. If you found this information useful, you're moving to Fort Myers, please consider giving back to us for our hard work. As you guys know, the YouTube doesn't pay a whole lot of money, so your support goes a long way in ensuring that we can continue to bring informative videos like this to the public.